Okay, welcome back to One Piece Anime Re-Review, Part 19A. We're now moving on to Enies Lobby, an arc that's pretty lengthy, though it takes like several breaks. Yeah, this is the first part of that. This is why I'm covering the first 15 episodes of Enies Lobby. Episodes 264 to 278. Pick up where last episode left off, where we have, Nika Robin and Frankie being escorted straight to Spada. Yep, being escorted to him. Meanwhile, though, the plan is simply, with the Alliance, to have the Galley Law and the Frankie family break open the two gates, give them 5 minutes, and then launch in with the Rocket Man. Yep, and Luffy is probably like, no, I'm not going to wait for that. He's like, okay. And then he decides to go right ahead with basically just beating up people. I'll look at that later. Yeah, he proceeds to, and of course beats the people at the front gate. And he goes next gate, and people at the main gate is like, don't fight him. Yeah, who is this guy? That's Straw Hat Luffy, the man with 100 million berry bounty on his head. Everyone's like, what? What is he doing here? And he proceeds to basically send a bunch of Marines and government agents flying, hops over that particular gate, and proceeds to spend the next several episodes beating the crap out of a bunch of Marines and government agents, like a whole boatload of them. Like, at one point, they even claimed before the last episode, he took out 1,000 guys in a span of about 10 minutes. Wow, that is something. It was like, damn, he's like, he couldn't wait. So, Frankie and Guy Locke go ahead with their plan. They beat up the government officials at the first gate. Not much of a problem. Yeah, not much of a problem. Yeah, they get through there, they use the Herculean destroyers, and they go through the first gate, zero problem. And then they race across to see the waterfall thing, like, more on it later. And they go across, and they're about to open the gate, but they're stopped by two giants. Yep, two giants, who actually, when Usopp, as Sniper King, talks to them later, these two are part of the Giant Pirates. The same crew that the two pirates that they met back in Little Garden. Yeah, that's actually referenced here. These two guys were part of that crew that basically left them there. Yep. So they fought the Frankie family for quite a while. And of course, Rocket Man, now the thing, the first gate closes. So Zoro comes with the genius idea. Have the frog smash the fence. And then send the Rocket Man steam train flying. Everyone's like, huh? I thought that was so funny. They only did with the first Kiseki as well. And they send him flying, and luck up the Frankie family. They would take out one of both giants. Not much. With some effort, they take him out, and they proceed to go through. And of course, Galley and the Galley, basically the Frankie family and the Galley Law proceed to beat a bunch of Marines and officials. And of course, some of the members of the Frankie family took a while to get there because they had to put Sodom and Gomorrah on these landing craft, these tracks. And of course, probably telling the pirates, save your energy for a CP9. Luffy, somehow, someway, gets to the courthouse. Gets on top. And meanwhile, though, of course, they think, oh yeah, he got 5. And of course, because they got cut off, Spada mistaken believes for a long time that Luffy only took out 5 guys. It was actually 500 guys he took out. And of course, Spada, this guy is an idiot. Oh my gosh. He spills his coffee a lot. He also leaves the receiver off for his transponders now. Don't know why he does it for, but he does. He, of course, has Robin and Frankie before him. And he proceeds to beat them up. He proceeds to kick them a lot. I'm like, good thing he didn't show the kicks. The anime didn't show the kicks hitting these two, because hitting a defenseless woman is really low for a villain to do. I mean, hitting Frankie is one thing, but hitting Robin, a woman who is basically defenseless because she's wearing sea stone handcuffs, yeah. And plus, also, she rightfully asked the most obvious question: why did Aokiji give you the Buster Call? And Spottum takes that as a talkback. Well, at least basically he doesn't like the question, so he proceeds to punch her. And of course, he kicks them both. Yeah, and CP9 come back. They just watch, and they do nothing. Absolutely nothing. Bluto actually questions the report. Yeah, I highly doubt you take out 5 guys, so he goes to take on Luffy by himself. Yeah, he's the first person CP9 that they take on, and Luffy faces him over the course of 3 episodes, and of course he uses his door fruit, and I've been waiting for him to say this, air door. Yeah, I've been hearing that phrase for quite a while in my head, like air door. Yeah, he opens the, and apparently he uses the thing to basically get on top of the courthouse. And he proceeds to fight Luffy for quite. He keeps sending Luffy like spinning his head all around. I thought that was quite hilarious. And eventually, he's defeated by Luffy after Luffy goes for the first time in the series to Gear 2. Yep, and he's like, what's up with his body? Why is he steaming up? Yeah, and it turns out basically Luffy, just by sheer coincidence, learns to shave, which is one of the 6 powers. Yep. We also introduced 3 more members, CP9. A chubby guy with a zipper in his mouth, with zipper for a mouth. A guy who's very dead fruit powers, and a guy who apparently can't kill himself because he uses iron body way too much. And eventually you have Kaku and Califa that eat their own dead fruit powers, and they survive, but they don't show one of their fruit powers just yet. One is quite interesting, the other is completely other stupid for a dead fruit power. Yeah, I am not really a fan of the other one. One I'm actually a fan of because it's actually quite interesting of a dead fruit power to use, especially as how Kaku is. Califa's dead fruit power is not as interesting. I will be getting to that. And then we have another wonderful scene with Frankie and Robin. Like somebody want to live, and of course, off screen, of course. And then, of course, they get in the final of the report, like, oh, and of course, he show up like, I'm the president. Like, oh crap, yo. And he just like, oh crap, you always have me hit the Buster Call. Like, sorry, sir, we actually report. Alright, what's the report? That Straw Hat that we've lost 2,000 out of 10,000 men. And during the course of this, Simon and Gamora both get taken out. Yeah, they both get they both apparently die after some mortar attacks. And the Straw Hats make it to the courthouse after a while, running up the top of the place. And of course, the girls from the Frankie family are fighting to get to the top so they can open up the drawbridge. Yep. Galley Law, of course, probably gives Zoro a message before they go to the rooftop. He says, if you see those guys, tell them they're all fired. And don't worry, he will be telling them that. And he says, understood. And then Frankie does something quite silly. He proceeds to almost blow up his own butt. Like, make his body so fucking big. And I think it's like, oh no, it's a bomb. And of course everyone runs away. But he basically gets a big fart while also carrying Nico Robin. And he proceeds to go on the balcony. And luckily he's saved by the wire fence. And he's able to break his chains, no problem. And Luffy, at the finish spell of Bluto, tells... Well, and of course, CP9 wondering what the heck is going on. So the entire group proceeds to get to the rooftop. And then we have Luffy asks, like, hey, like she wants to die. And then we have a flashback to Robin's childhood. Where, here's the thing. Her uncle, it's real that she stays with her brother, with her mom and brother's family. Mainly because of the fact that we also reveal her mother's name is Nico Olivia. And she's an archaeologist. And Robin just becomes an archaeologist. But apparently she also can read the polyglyph. Which, okay, keep that a secret. And by the way, Olivia is basically like... I mean, here's the thing. It's one of those strange things where characters give you the spitting image of their parents. Robin is spitting image of her mother. Aokiji pointed out to Luffy that he's spitting image of his grandfather. Yeah. And the big difference between Robin and Olivia is Olivia, despite looking like they both look exactly the same, is Olivia's got platinum blonde hair, while Nika Robin has got raven hair. Yes, with a little bit of blue in it. Yeah, that's something they keep her hair with the whole blue like shade, like basic kind of shading thing for her hair. They keep this in her hair up until the time skip where they actually have her stop doing that. hmm Yeah, her flashback, and it shows that her aunt doesn't give a crap about her at all. Treats her horribly. Her cousin treats her horribly, but not her uncle. Her uncle treats her really nice because the fact that, well, she's the daughter of his sister, which he's never seen on screen. Nope. You hear him, and it seems like he's a pretty decent guy. All the kids basically disrespect her, and basically she hits one of them because he threw a tomato at her while she was trying to read. And the same day, she basically decided to return a book that she was reading, and she basically automatically graduated and became an official archaeologist. And then, with sheer coincidence, the very next day after she reveals that, oh yeah, I can read the poneglyphs now, her mother returns, having escaped from custody. Yep. How she escaped from custody is not exactly shown. And then, of course, Robin just finds, by sheer coincidence, a giant walking up on Ohara, Robin's home. His name is Saul, and he's also a deserter. Yeah, he was a vice admiral who deserted his post for a very good reason, because even he agrees that the whole thing of killing these archaeologists for daring to research the poneglyphs. Yeah, because the war government's view, like, oh, they're gonna research the poneglyphs to resurrect the weapons. And Robin's like, and of course Olivia's like, no, we're not interested in the weapons. We just want to unveil the true history. But in the case of the professor, who basically they're confronted by a mysterious person who is later revealed to be Spiderman's father, by the way. Yeah, same voice actor. Yeah, and Olivia is voiced by Stephanie Young. Now, in the case of young Robin, she's voiced by the same actress who voices Carla from Fairy Tail. Yeah, same voice actress. And this is the same woman who also voices Sheltier Bloodfawn from Overlord. Yeah, same person. And she always voices great women. Well, here are three female characters she voices. A Dofort user, a vampire who has a lolly complex, and a cat. Yeah. But at least her characters are quite interesting. And of course, Robin gets a chance to basically know Saul over the course of a few days. And of course, then she reveals to read the poneglyphs. And then she reveals who her mother is, and he's like, oh crap. This is Odora, isn't it? All because she told who her mother is. And then they just by sheer coincidence, CP9. No, not the current one, the original version. Led by Spotham's idiot father. Like father, like son, they're both idiots. Like, oh, and of course when he gets shot, it's like, oh, I got shot. Let my son take over for me. And there is man like, sir, you just got a hole in your coat. They're like, oh. And of course, Olivia shows up. Of course, she gets captured really easily. And of course, well, we have the Professor Clover. I think his name is Professor Clover. He's got basically a weird like hairstyle. He says he wants to talk to 5 Elder Stars about his results before they kill him. Yes, the 5 Elder Stars, who I personally refer to as the 5 Elder Idiots. Because these 5 guys are utter morons and just love having their own agenda. Yep, despite the fact that their stupid law, their law about researching this thing is utter nonsense. Oh, don't research these weird poneglyphs. Don't research these weird rocks because you'll revive some dead weapon. A lot of people will not really interesting. I mean, like only one person in the whole franchise is just reviving a weapon, and that was Crocodile. After he found out basically that he couldn't get the blueprints, he just gave up on it. Just never thought of it again. In the case of the research Odora, it's like, no, we're not interested in weapons. We just want to reveal the true history. And it shows off the nation that was wiped off the map. And it kind of looks like Atlantis. And it was wiped out by basically the founding 20 countries that founded the world government. And why was it taken out? In case you're wondering, at the point of the series, basically where the series is now, do they ever reveal that question? Nope. Do they reveal the name of this country? As far as I know, no, they never revealed the name of this country or what the whole purpose of this country was. Was this an evil country? Never revealed, because Oda himself has never explained what the whole purpose of this country is, and basically explained the Black Century has been a plot device for Nika Robin since her debut. And then, of course, well, it's like, okay, like, shot the guy, and of course Robin reunites her mother, and just before that, the head of CP9 initiates the Buster Call, which is basically 10 battleships commanded by 5 vice admirals who proceed to blow the living hell of this island. Like, oh my gosh. They destroy everything. Not only the houses, but also trees as well. Also the future fleet admirals here as well. And this guy is utter jerk. Aokiji does not agree with, no, he's not referred to as Aokiji at this point. He's Kaji. I think that's his family name. I'm not sure. Yeah, and of course, he looks pretty much the same as he does in present day, except that in present day he doesn't have his shades, and he doesn't wear his do-rag in his head anymore. Yeah, aside from that, he hasn't really changed much in 20 years. That's usually the case for a lot of people, where after 20 years, sometimes basically people look exactly the same. It's nothing unusual, but it's also Japan. Yep, and, well, when they find out that Saul is there, he basically goes in the island, he leaves the ship. Oh yeah, we show up his death-proof power. Yeah, the whole thing about freezing. And it shows the first ever person he chronologically freeze, and it was Saul, when he was trying to protect Robin. Yeah, and also, Robin, of course, reunites his mother. It's a wonderful scene. Other fact, Robin basically mentioning that her mother would be so happy now she's an archaeologist, but she also created the poneglyphs as well. Yeah, she's so happy with it. I'm surprised you have to tell each other they love each other. That would have been nice, but she basically tells Saul, of course, Saul just happens to show up because of the Buster Call stuff. And of course, Olivia's surprised to see him. It's like, oh, I just washed up here. I've been hanging out with Robin the past few days. And she probably smiles at the fact that he got a chance to know her daughter. And she tells Saul, get her out of here. Like, I'm probably not going to make it, so just go. And so the researchers, in order to save all the big library, threw all the books of this particular library into the lake. Yep. Oh, and the Tree of Knowledge completely destroyed. And it's revealed that apparently the world government was actually already planning on destroying this place just because they dared to research the poneglyphs. Yes. Something utterly stupid. I'm sure even the readers of One Piece can realize, though, researching this thing, apparently knowing about the poneglyphs, that's not a crime, or having one. What is a crime is researching them and translating them. That is a crime. Yeah, an utterly stupid crime. And Luffy will probably hear like that's a crime. He's probably like, we're pirates. Who freaking cares? Yep. And of course, well, they mentioned the whole thing about the fact that these poneglyphs are actually pieces of a lost history that the world government wants to keep hidden for some reason. They're so desperate. Yes, so desperate. Yeah, this is also technically the first time. This is the first time since, I think since the Giant arc that the 5 Elder Stars have been seen. And this is the first time in flashback they've been seen. Now, in case you're wondering, do these 5 guys have names? I don't think they do. I mean, they have shown up several times in the course of this series. The most recent time was actually in the Reverie arc. Yeah, that was the most recent time these guys showed up. And these are 5 old men basically dead set in their ways. Because they're scared of absolutely nothing. Yep. And Robin, of course, escapes the island even after, well, Aokiji goes and frees Saul, but saves Nika Robin because she had nothing to do. Of course, she's about to go to the evacuation ship. And then the ship is destroyed. Both Saul, basically, he's aghast. Even Aokiji, basically, is aghast by this. And he hates this guy. He hates this admiral. Like, oh, his whole thing of absolute justice. Yeah, and this guy's, his philosophies will be pretty much become his thing when he becomes fleet admiral by the time of the most recent time skip. And this admiral, probably by far, for all the characters, of course, of One Piece, he's probably hated as much as Blackbeard. And oh boy, we'll be getting to Blackbeard, alright. He will actually make his return at the end of the season. Yep, he will return. Don't worry about Blackbeard. Yep. And then the final episode, basically, and of course, Luffy says, I want to hear you say where you want to live. And of course, Spine points out, yeah, that's about the world government. Yeah, and Luffy's like, that must be Robin's enemy, Sniper King. And he's like, yeah, shoot down that flag. He's like, roger that. And he proceeds to burn the flag. And everyone's like, what? Yeah, and Bob obviously points this out. You just declared war on the world government. Yep, and Luffy's like, I don't care, I just want Robin back. And Robin, I want to hear your name. I want to hear you say it. And he's like, Luffy, take me away from here. I want to live. Yep, and that's the episode. Wow, what a great set of episodes. And this is why I gotta love One Piece, because of the great writing they have for certain arcs. And like I've said before, this arc, in my opinion, is one of the best arcs of the whole series. And it is so good. Surprisingly, no, the Galley Law, they're absent for a large portion of this arc, along with the Frankie family. Because as soon as they come back from this arc, it's pretty much just focused on the Straw Hats versus CP9 for most of this arc. Yep. I should point out, though, after episode 278, 279, and 283 are clip shows. Yep, they are freaking clip shows showing the characters' childhoods. I'm sure a lot of people are like, really? This is why you did this? So yeah, I'm not reviewing those episodes because I've reviewed that footage before. I'm skipping over those are clip shows. So when I return to One Piece, I will be discussing the next part of the series, starting with episode 284. Yep, but next anime I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to Freya. Yep, I'm going to go back to Freya to cap off that series. And then I'll be back to One Piece, and then I'll reveal, when I finish up at Freya, when I get to the final episode, I'm actually going to reveal what series I'm going to do next. And what am I going to do for anime after that, okay? But yeah, that's it for this particular review. My next review is going to be a review of a comic order. Yep. See you in the next video. Bye.